Welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform. We bring you the biggest interviews and opinions to empower you, the MSME entrepreneur. Tonight on the show, we bring you a segment we call Game Changers, featuring companies and individuals who are making a difference. First up, we are in conversation with Jyotsna Kaur Habibullah. On the other side of a short break, we'll bring you a conversation with Farms and Farmers. Entrepreneur and philanthropist and founder chairman of FICCI-FLO of Lucknow and Kanpur, Jyotsna Kaur Habibullah spoke with us about women and women entrepreneurs and mentors for women. She also spoke to us about the Mango Festival that she curates, as well as about small businesses that are based away from the metros in Tier 2 and Tier 3. Take a listen. Jyotsna, thanks very much for speaking with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. It's always a pleasure to be able to speak with entrepreneurs like yourself who've decided to do something different. On that note, I want to really talk to you about the fact that you decided not to join your family business, but go ahead and do something on your own. Forge your own space, create a name for yourself in a space of your choosing. Let's start by talking about that. What can you tell our viewers about that?
So my parents, of course, had their own business where they had beekeeping and honey-based products, and that's really where I got interested in marketing and also in, interested in rural development and in seeing how, a change can really be made at the ground level. And through my, senior years in school and also partly in undergraduate when I was studying at St. Stephen's in Delhi, I worked with my parents with their business. But then, I went on to do my MBA abroad and worked in Dubai, getting experience in marketing and so on. And so at the time that they wanted to sort of hand over their business, I wasn't able to take it on at that point. Then after I got married, I was able to move to Lucknow with my husband, and we restored our old family home, which is Habibullah Estate in Hazratganj, as the first family home that we restored into a boutique retail space in Lucknow. Bringing brands like Ritu Kumar and Anokhi, Gitanjali Salon and a cafe into Lucknow, and building such a space for the first time, utilizing the space and giving it a new lease of life.
Speaking of that, what was the experience of bringing in big brands like that into a city like Lucknow?
Well, the brands actually were really supportive. So, for instance, when we talked to Ritu Kumar and Anokhi before we set up, we got so much support from them because, of course, the movement at that time, this is in 2011 when we started the process, and then we launched at the end of 2012. They were very interested actually in moving to these markets. So, the good thing is that it was at the right time. And after that, of course, there's been a huge, influx of brands into, after all the brands are moving now from the metros into what they call the Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. So really that was at the start of that, and we were really able to, get a lot of that benefit. And also to show how old buildings can still be used in ways that are useful and in ways that they can reflect the essence of a city without breaking them down and just setting up steel and glass concrete structures.
As a woman entrepreneur, Jyotsna, and the reason I'm bringing that up is to really talk about the fact that you're the founding member of FICCI-FLO, a woman-specific arm really of FICCI. My question to you is why you felt the need to have something which is separate for women entrepreneurs, the opportunities, the challenges, and therefore the need to have a separate arm, a separate organization for women. Did you feel the need for that? And if yes, just talk to us about what really went into the founding of that.
So my mother actually was a national president at FICCI as an entrepreneur when I was in college, and that's how I started the journey with FICCI. When I moved to Lucknow and started set up our own the retail space and the entrepreneurship with the Mango Festival and so on, it seemed to be the natural progression because Lucknow didn't had a lot of women who were very interested in doing a lot of work, but no body like this, and so it was very exciting setting up the FLO chapter, because I think it gives women a fantastic platform. We have 6,000 members across the whole country, and our aim is to work for economic empowerment of women and to help women right from the grassroots level up to members of boards of companies. So it's firstly a great platform wherever you are in any city, because you connect with like-minded people and one can really do things to bring about a change. You can I think it's our role as women who've had the opportunity, who've had the privilege to help bring other women forward. And a platform there's no other platform like FLO, I think, in this country, or since it was one of the first women's bodies in the world or anywhere in the world.
We were talking previously about the FICCI-FLO, and I want to talk to you about the percentage of women who are participating in the workforce here in India. We did a panel discussion here on the Leaders of Tomorrow previously, where the percentage of women involved in the workforce in India is lower than some sub-Saharan countries. I want your thoughts on how that possibly can change.
So firstly, I think the measurement of women in the workforce is something that's flawed. Because, as far as all of us know, firstly, I'm now from UP, first from Punjab, women participate in the agricultural sector more than men, but their participation isn't measured. Women's participation in so many fields, apart from, of course, domestic work, which all over the world is not measured. So one part of it is beginning to measure the work, I think, correctly. And secondly, of course, we have to have better support structures in our communities, in our, business groups, in institutions, in colleges and schools, to help to empower women and to give them role models. For that, I think media has a very important part to play. So many of the stories that we see are negative stories. We need to focus more on the positive stories so that people have role models.
We don't talk, unfortunately, often enough about giving here on the Leaders of Tomorrow. So I do definitely want to talk to you about the Daat festival, something that you're so closely associated with. Just talk to us about really your association, your involvement with that.
So this started as the Joy of Giving Week 10 years ago, and now it's a movement that's grown across the country, and millions of people are involved. We have CEOs who do a walk for CEOs at ISB Hyderabad. Stars like Amitabh Bachchan and Sachin Tendulkar have advocated this. Our Prime Minister has talked about it on Mann Ki Baat last year. And so, it's something that's really, India, of course, has a culture of philanthropy, but when we look at, people doing acts of philanthropy, we still look to the West. So, from the 2nd to the 8th of October, the Joy of Giving Week, Daan Utsav, is celebrated in India. And anybody can participate in any act of giving in any way that you want to. So it really makes a difference to people and makes, inculcates a culture of giving, which is a wonderful thing, right from children to old people, whether, you can afford it or not, whether you want to give of your time or physical things. It's a fantastic experience.
I want to just shift focus for a little bit and talk about the Mango Festival, which you've pioneered. What can you tell us about that?
My grandmother-in-law, who in fact has been a politician in Uttar Pradesh, recently passed away at almost 102, was a part of every organization that worked for women and children in UP, and also led it at the center. She actually planted the mango orchard in a village in Barabanki district in Uttar Pradesh, in Saidhanpur. And so I was really proud to be able to take this forward and to grow this, because I think the issue that we see at the agricultural level, at the agricultural sector in UP, being that farmers don't get good access to market prices and don't have the best access to market. So the Mango Festival came up as a concept to also put UP mangoes on the map. When we think of mangoes in India, we only think of Alfonso and Maharashtra, whereas UP, I think, has the best mangoes in India. our mango festival actually showcases the up to 400 or 500 varieties of UP mangoes. We get farmers from across the state and from other states also who actually come and sell their mangoes, and self-help groups, most of them women-based, who actually bring their mango products. We do everything from storytelling with mangoes. There's a fantastic Dastan Go called Himanshu Bajpai who actually developed these stories, right, talking from Mirza Ghalib and how he would never go anywhere in the summer where he didn't get mangoes to eat, and right down to why people love mangoes, and little anecdotes about that. And so this mango festival really has become a huge tourist draw also to Lucknow, where people in their summer holidays can come and enjoy what we used to in the summer holidays enjoy, sitting under the trees, savoring mangoes. That's in our fast-paced city lives, we just losing these joys, and connecting farmers with consumers and bringing people back to nature. It's all what it's about, as well as promoting, of course, our mango heritage in UP.
Jyotsna, such a pleasure speaking with you here on Leaders of Tomorrow. Thanks very much for your time. It's time for a break. On the other side of Leaders of Tomorrow, we're bringing you a second conversation on game changers, also from the agriculture space. Farms and Farmers is in focus tonight. Just stay tuned. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight we're bringing you this Patna-based company, Farms and Farmers, that's making a difference in the agriculture space. Shashank, thanks so much for speaking with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. Let me start. My first question to you really is about your own personal journey. It's not very often that you have people with your kind of a background. You're from an IIT, you gave up what was a very lucrative job to go back to your state and start this business. What really was the thinking? What was the motivation? Just run us through that.
When I was studying at IIT, I found that most of the students get placed in non-core jobs, right? So students from IIT getting into consulting or finance or analytics, right? Somebody who is doing electrical or any other stream getting into oil and gas sector, right? So then why not agriculture, right? So my simple question to everyone is that if, we as an IIT, and let's say if we are getting into a consulting job without having management consulting background, so then why not agriculture? However, in my case, it's a long story. It's about connecting few dots of my life, because I originally belonged to a farming community, although I had never lived there because of my studies and job. But still, I had brief idea of the challenges in the villages.
Since you are from Patna, I want to talk about Bihar and some data we have. Nearly 88% of the population in Bihar living in rural areas. My question to you is, in a country like India, how perhaps can you use the demographic dividend and the demographic that you have in the state of Bihar to boost agricultural productivity?
Yes, as a state, Bihar has huge, humongous potential for agriculture, because in India, there are quite a few states where farmers are primarily dependent upon monsoon, right? So, but here in Bihar, we have, amazing source of irrigation, right? So we have huge Gangetic belt. We have outstanding groundwater status. The way how we think that the gaps which are present in the value chain of Bihar, those gaps are that, that farmers in Bihar, they are growing number of crops, soil is extremely fertile, any crop can be grown as per the market standard, but there is no direct connection between farmers and the industry, right? So means what exactly is needed to the market, what's the market demand, that communication is not very streamlined between buyers and farmers.
Speaking of data in 2016-17, if you are to look at it, there was record productivity when it came to output. But it seems like the benefits of that in Bihar are not trickling down. It's also the benefits of that not trickling down in many other states. My question to you is, as someone who's so closely associated with this industry, how perhaps that can be fixed?
2-3 reasons primarily, because yes, productivity for many crops in Bihar is fairly well. For example, corn, the average productivity of corn is better than the national average. But yes, I mean, the price realization for a farmer is not up to the mark, primarily because of 2 reasons. Because one, of course, ideally buyers should have this information. Buyers should have complete information about the production pattern, about the availability of crop, about the crop status, harvesting data, right? So that they can plan their backward integration, so that they can plan their logistic right from farm gate, which is their strength, right? At the same time, farmers should have this information that what kind of crop or variety is needed to the buyer. What's the right time when a buyer needs this crop? What should be the right grade and variety I should grow, right? So that, I mean, and that's our philosophy, that that we see this agriculture industry exactly similar to any manufacturing industry, right? So in any manufacturing sector, the entire production starts when you have a confirmed order, right? However, here in agriculture, first as a farmer we grow, and then at the end of season we look for market. So we need to reverse this process, and that's one of our hypotheses at Dehaat as well, because based on the market demand, we encourage farmer to take the crop to finalize the variety. During the season itself, because of the technology involved at Dehaat, during the season itself we have 70 to 75% visibility of the harvest, quality, quantity and the time, and that information is shared with more than 65 institutional buyers which are listed on our Dehaat platform. So that is something which creates confidence for the buyers, and at the same time that helps farmer to fetch better price as well. So that could be the one answer. Secondly, of course, the post harvest infrastructure, right? So when you have surplus production, in case of grains, we all know that the scarce storage space, right? So farmers they have to go for the distress sell, right? So in case of, if we have right storage space, if we have arrangement of providing warehouse receipt to farmer, so maybe someday farmers will also be courageous to store their produce for a longer span, and they will wait for 3-4 more months to fetch better price during the off season.
Shashank, it's particularly exciting to be speaking with you because in this new season of the Leaders of Tomorrow, we are talking to entrepreneurs like yourself, game changers who are doing something different. So my question to you is, if you were to advise the viewers of our show who perhaps might be interested in doing something like you've done, what would you have to say to them?
First advice to budding social entrepreneur would be patience, because usually most of the development sector areas are unexplored, untapped, right? These are the spaces where basically you need to work closely with the community, be it farmer or women or maybe kids, and unfortunately what we have seen that unfortunately the community, they have many bad past experiences, right? So they have their own prejudices. So basically it's very important to win the trust from the community, and which is a time taking process. So for example, even in our case, although we have a right set of offerings for farmer, we have all right propositions for farmer, basically which helps them to increase their agricultural income significantly. But still usually farmers, in fact, they don't come forward for their entire agricultural requirement from day one. So it's a time taking process. So initial few years, of course, you need to have patience, so that you can have a very deep understanding of this sector. You can have vast experience of the grassroots challenges, implications, and at the same time you can also win the trust, you can also build the relationship with the community. So first and foremost is of course the patience. Second part is the approach. Second is the technology, because we have seen that in case of most of the social entrepreneur, we always focus more on the impact. We focus more on the manual approach, but our model doesn't become scalable and sustainable, right? So most of the social challenges, most of the issues exist in rural India. Sample size for these issues is pretty large.
What should our viewers know about the Dehaat model? Just run us through that.
Sure. So Dehaat is a very unique model and technology which talks about providing complete end-to-end agricultural services to small farmers. So please try to understand the psychology, the problems of these small farmers. In India, we have more than 75–80% farmer fall under this category. Average data says that net annual income for one single farmer's household in India is mere 75,000 INR for a family size of 5. If you do a backward calculation on a monthly basis, it will be 6,000 rupees. On a daily basis, it will be less than 200 rupees. And we found that reason of having such a low profitability and productivity for these farmers is that they do not have access to right set of agri value chain services. For any individual farmer, they have n number of agricultural requirement during the season, which crop to grow, which variety is right variety for their soil, getting their soil test done, buying quality seed, fertilizer, insecticide, getting right set of advisory or technique, awareness about latest farming practices, information related to weather, market, machine, credit, equipment, and lastly about selling their farm produce to better rate. And we expect just an individual farmer to take care of all these things, and Dehaat aims to be a one-stop solution for these small landholders, for these small farmers.
Let's wrap this up by asking a very critical question. Any business, of course, is run for the purpose of profit. So perhaps as a social entrepreneur, how you've raised funds, how you've managed to make money, and whether there's enough money to be made in a social entrepreneurship model.
In our case, in fact, so we got registered in 2012, and initially it was pretty difficult because one, agriculture, two, Bihar, right? So both the factors are pretty extreme. It was very difficult to convince anyone that in agriculture in Bihar a scalable business model can be built, right? Because of course market has their own perception about the sector, about the geographical region. But in past 5–6 years, the way how entire industry has been transformed, it's phenomenal, right? Because nowadays you will find quite a few incubators, quite a few platform which are always available for entrepreneurs for the fundraising, right? Even for your seed round, for the early stage round, you actually don't need to be worried, provided you have a right set of team, right set of will and an innovative idea.
Shashank, thank you very much for speaking with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. That's our show tonight. If you have any companies that you think are definitely worth featuring here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, here's how you can let us know. leadersoftomorrowtimesgroup.com is our email ID. You can also tweet at us at LOT_ET now or Sunanda_J. You can leave your comments for us on our Facebook page, Leaders of Tomorrow on ET Now. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.